Hey folks, hope you're doing well. It is August 31st, end of the month, so I want to record a video here on negotiation. I'm in total software bro mode. I've got a backwards hat. I've got my Wolf of Wall Street shirt on, trying to finish the month off strong. But want to make this video on negotiation for a few helpful tips and tricks for you. So around negotiation, today we're going to cover the negotiation fundamentals as well as some tactics and concepts that you can implement immediately and start to see some results from it. So, quick disclaimer, everything in this presentation is stolen directly from Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. It's a phenomenal book. If you haven't read it yet, pick it up, check it out. Definitely worth the read. Black Swan, his company is actually a HubSpot customer. So, negotiation fundamentals. Why do we negotiate in the first place? First of all, negotiation tends to have a negative connotation, right? We always think of it as being a zero-sum game. It's some manipulative verbal battle where one person's going to lose and the other person's going to win, and you have to outplay or outsmart the other person. That's really not the case at all. In order to achieve an agreement on issues where all parties find acceptable, that is the reason for negotiating. Both people can walk away happy with the outcome. We can find a compromise because odds are you're probably looking for something different out of the deal. It's just a matter of figuring out what that is. So, some good things to keep in mind about negotiation to get rid of that negative connotation is approach it with the spirit of collaboration. You should be going into it expecting to walk away with both parties feeling great about the outcome of it. In order to do that, you should be fair, you should be empathetic, you should be thinking about the other person's goals and priorities and their fears. Just try and build trust, build rapport, all that kind of great stuff. So you can both get the outcome that you're looking for. Quick water break here. Perfect. So, a couple of tactics that you can use. We'll cover 5 of them today. Try these at home. Start using them on your spouse, your kids, your roommate, your neighbor, a stranger on the street, doesn't matter. But the more you start to use them in everyday conversation, the better you'll get, the more natural it feels, so it feels less forced. Number 1 tactic. This is one of my absolute favorite ones. It's called an accusations audit. This is great to practice and go through right before you're going into a proposal pitch or a final pricing review, anything like that. Basically, what you're going to do is before you go into the call, you're going to create an exhaustive list of everything negative that you think the other side's going to be bringing to the table. What are their concerns? What are their fears? You probably feel this deep down based on the conversations you've had previously. They've got some hesitations of some sort. So make that list. And then when you get to the meeting, just pull it out on top. The reason for doing this is that folks are 9 times more likely to not do something based on hesitations weighing on them than they are to do something based on a goal or a vision that they have. So if we can eliminate the negative side of why they would take action, get that risk aversion in place, alleviate the risk for them, they're much more likely to do business with us. An accusations audit is taking those feelings that they're already going to be talking about behind closed doors and putting them out on the table so we can clear them out. Very easy to do. You can introduce it by saying something like, it probably seems like. Say that right up front, name and label the accusation, the feeling that they have, and address it right then and there. You know what's going to happen, so just bring it up and get it over with. So here are a few examples. She might feel like we're just trying to hit our March quota and don't care about content. He might think about a discount offer we offered with the deadline isn't a real deadline. These are the list of things that you can build up before you go into the discussion as like, what are they going to push back on? Let's try and be proactive. And then, for example, that second bullet point, before you go into a pricing conversation, you would say, he might think about a discount that we offered with a deadline that's not really a deadline. Like we're just kind of using that as a sales tactic. So right off the bat in that meeting, the first thing is just say, Brian, it probably seems like that March 15th deadline for this discount is arbitrary, like it's not real. Right away, he's feeling it already. You know he's feeling it. Bring it out on the table, address it, let them say yes or no, confirm it, and then address it accordingly. That's tactic 1. Tactic 2 is mirroring. This sounds so stupid when you're talking about it, but when you actually use it in conversation, it works really, really well. So very simplistically, all mirroring is just repeating back the last 1 to 3 words. A way to practice this is if you're ever in a conversation and you're running out of things to ask or questions to ask, just try it. There's a weird silence there. Tag a mirror onto the end of it. Repeat back to them the last 1 to 3 words, and they'll continue to elaborate. A big part of negotiations, in order to find that compromise, that middle ground where both parties walk away happy with the outcome, is to understand what the other party wants from the negotiation. You know what you want from your end, but in order to find out what they want and what's going to make them happy, you need to get them to talk. So all of these techniques we're talking about are just ways to help the other party continue to talk. So eventually they reveal what they're really interested in. And once we know what the goals are for both sides, we can work towards a middle common ground where we're both happy in the negotiation. So with mirroring, as someone's talking to you, the end of the conversation, just repeat back the last 1 to 3 words. Again, it sounds stupid. Try it with your spouse, your kid, your neighbor, anyone. It is a lot of fun once you start practicing it. So for an example, we need a 25% discount on professional because our budget doesn't support anything more than that. Your budget? Yes, we set aside 75K for marketing. For marketing? Yeah, we're looking to put up some automation in place, and we'd like to spend about a 1K on Facebook ads. Now, obviously, you're not going to do this for the entire conversation because eventually the person's going to look at you like you're crazy, you have two heads. But once or twice, using an inquisitive tone on the end of it, asking as a question, raising your voice, and then being quiet. Say your budget, and then let the silence sit in. People don't like silence, it's uncomfortable. So, 95% of the time, the client's just going to continue unpacking what they're talking about. But if we take that 25% discount they're asking for at the top of this discussion, we go, great, yeah, let's see, maybe we can find a way to work together. I'll go back and ask about getting you a discount on that. When you just use mirroring, you're getting them to talk more about why they need that discount. Now they're telling you they've got X amount of money set aside for their budget. Now you know what they're trying to do with that money. You can see as you mirror, you get deeper into the conversation, you understand where they're coming from so you can find a solution. Tactic number 3, labeling. Absolutely love this one as well. A great way to get the other person to continue to talk about what's going on. Again, use this with your spouse, your roommate, your friend, your kids, whatever it might be. It's really fun, great to practice. But it's essentially acknowledging the feelings that they're having. And this is a great way to position that up front. So you may use phrases like, it seems like, it looks like, it sounds like. So not saying first person pronouns like, I feel like you're thinking, or I feel this way, or I'm thinking you're doing this. No, it seems like, it sounds like, it looks like. When you're labeling that emotion, you're giving them the opportunity to clarify. The flip end of that is mislabeling. You can intentionally miss the mark, again, giving them the opportunity to confirm or deny what you just labeled. So if you say, it seems like you don't have the budget for this, they can elaborate and say, yeah, we really don't. We're trying to find ways. Or they say, no, we do have the budget for it. We're just trying to find the best way to allocate our money. Mislabeling is the other way. Would it be crazy to get started by March 26th? No, it wouldn't really be crazy. That's totally fine. We can probably do that. So use labeling, use mislabeling. It's a way to bring their feelings and thoughts out on the table and give them an opportunity to confirm or deny them. Cool. Here's some examples for it. Sounds like, right? It seems like, mislabeling and labeling. The fourth tactic that we'll use are calibrated questions. These are what and how questions. You've heard of open-ended questions before. They get the other person to consider your position in the conversation and continue to talk on their end. Whenever you're asking why questions, for some reason, maybe it's because when we were kids and our parents would say, why are you doing that? And it always sounded inquisitive or wrong, threatening. What and how are open-ended questions that are less threatening than why. When someone says we want to grow our company 20% next year, and you say why, it makes it sound like that's the wrong answer. Like they shouldn't be wanting to grow 20%. But if you can say something like, what would it mean if you grew 20%? That's an open-ended question that now they're feeling more energized to answer because it's their goal and they're going to tell you why that's important to them without you feeling threatening by asking them why that's important to them, as if they have to justify their answer to you. So open-ended questions, but stick with what and how, leave why off the table for now. Here's some examples. Finally, fifth, so we've got accusation audits, we've got mirroring, we've got labeling, both yes and no, mislabeling and proper labeling. And then fourth, we've got the thing we just talked about, calibrated questions. And then fifth, we've got yes and no. For whatever reason in sales for the longest time, it's been trained that we should get the other party to be saying yes. The more they say yes, the more they'll get used to it. And then somehow we'll play a Jedi mind trick and we'll say, do you want to buy this contract? And they say yes, and they sign on the line, which is dotted, and then they feel really bad about it. Psychology doesn't really support this argument. When we're saying yes, other people feel like they start to lose leverage in the conversation, like they're giving in to you and what you're offering to them. So, an easy way to flip this on its head is to actually get them to say no more often. Because if you can get them to say no, it puts them in a place of safety and it maintains their leverage in the argument. So, a couple of examples for this, and it'll make a lot more sense, is what if instead of saying, is this a good idea? Where right off the bat, people feel hesitant to say yes because, again, it feels like it's some kind of a trick, like you're getting them to say yes and they're losing leverage. You can ask something that's going to prone a no answer. Like, is this a ridiculous idea? When they say no, it's almost like they're in control of the conversation and they're walking alongside you rather than you leading them down the path. So another example of what if rather than saying, could you start by March 17th? You could ask, would it be crazy to think you could start by March 17th? And say, no, 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 that makes perfect sense. We could do that probably. So a great way to flip it on its head where yes makes it feel like they're being manipulated or they're losing advantage in the conversation. No is a great way to give them power and safety back and still have the conversations and address the topics that you're wanting to approach. So 5 easy tactics for you. Again, these are ways, all of them are designed to get the other party in the conversation to talk more. The goal is to talk less, listen more to what they want, and the more that they're talking, the deeper they'll go into what their true deep intentions are, what their goals are, their fears are, all those good things that we need to understand so that way we can come up with a solution that is good for both parties. Everyone walks away happy. So hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and happy to help. Thanks.